Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast, the show for ambitious women ready to get off the hot mess express. I know you've got a lot going on. You work so hard, you're raising an incredible family, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a certified master life coach, attorney, wife, and mom. And years ago, I was right where you are. I was running a busy law practice while raising a family, and I was on the fast track to burnout. I thought I just needed to be more organized or have better routines, but it was learning how to heal and regulate my nervous system that expanded my capacity to gracefully hold more of this big, beautiful life. You too are worthy of an extraordinary life in and beyond motherhood. Learning to be a calm, anchoring presence in your home and at work is going to be your superpower. If you're here to do the inner work that brings a sense of calm amidst the chaos, I'm here to join you on that journey. Each time you press play, your growth continues. So let's get at it. Welcome to the Calm Mom Podcast. It's Michelle Grosser here. Happy New Year. So grateful that you guys are with us today. We're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about 3 ways that you guys can optimize your sleep, because we all know how important sleep is. And I don't know, I've been through periods of insomnia in my life. I have 2 kids, so obviously early on in that parenthood journey, sleep is just hard to come by, or it can be hard to come by. And when I was in the throes of that newborn motherhood stage, I remember my own mom telling me that she had read something that it takes 6 years on average for your sleep to return to normal after you have children. And I feel that. I don't know if that's true for you guys too, but before I had kids, I slept really well. I slept through the night. I was like a deep sleeper. I could nap. After having kids, I just became such a light sleeper. And I think when I was in my deepest stages of burnout and my cortisol was all whack, my levels were just so off that I was finding myself in that dreaded 2 a.m., 3 a.m. wake up every single night. And I just couldn't fall back asleep for the life of me during those years because I didn't have the tools and I didn't have the understanding of what was going on in my body. And I was actually doing things that I thought were helpful that were not, and were making my insomnia worse. So if any of you are struggling to fall asleep or stay asleep, I'm hoping that, I can teach you the things that I wish I knew back when I was having these problems. Because holy moly, guys, when we're not sleeping, it's hard. It makes everything else harder, right? We know how important sleep is to our overall well-being, to our energy, to our mood, to our mental health, our emotional health, our nervous system health, just our daily functioning is so deeply impacted when we're not sleeping well. So I want you guys to walk away today with 3 specific tools so you can get more restful, high quality sleep, right? And that's going to impact your brain function. It's going to impact your hormone health. It's going to impact your body repair. All of us that are doing all of the things, juggling multiple roles, this is just foundational. And I love starting with this in the beginning of the year because if you guys are anything like me, the beginning of the year can be so exciting because it's just that turn of the page. It's the fresh slate, right? It's it just feels so good to be able to put into practice these things that I've been wanting to do differently. And I know you guys have goals for this year. I know you have different ways of being that you want to operate in. I know that you have words of the year, or you have resolutions, or there's just habit shifts that you are intentionally, seeking in this new year. And when I start the new year, something that I have started doing in the last few years is I have all of those things too. And it's a time where I start going back to the basics and really starting to be hey, how are those foundational things running, right? How is my sleep? How is my nutrition? How is my movement? How is my stillness? How is my play? Because upon those foundational things, we build, right? If our sleep is whack, then I don't really care how good your morning routine is. I don't really care how good your nutrition is. I don't really care how good your, new workout, New Year's resolution is. If you're not sleeping, it's going to be really hard to do those other things. It's going to be really hard for you to carry out your resolutions or your words of the year or whatever else it is, right? Because sleep is foundational. So let's start there today. And I think this is going to be really helpful for you guys. Before we do, big announcement. Y'all, it's finally here. The doors to the Burnout Recovery Blueprint open this week. So if you're listening to this in real time, this is dropping on Tuesday. The doors to the Burnout Recovery Blueprint are opening on Thursday. So on Thursday, everyone's going to get an email with a link to the sales page. All the information is there. So if you've been feeling stuck in survival mode, if you've been feeling like either through the holidays or if you're honest with yourself, maybe long before that, drained, overwhelmed, really just feeling like you can't catch your breath, guys, this is your chance to find a lasting solution. No more waking up exhausted, no more snapping at your people that you love, right? Struggling to focus, getting rid of that brain fog happens this month, you guys. I created BRB because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to run on fumes. I know what it feels like to feel like you're not showing up as your best self for one, yourself, but also for the people that depend on you and love you and are looking up to you and learning from you. And I tried all the Band-Aids. I tried all the quick fixes. I tried all of the therapy and meditations and mantras and affirmations and all that garbage it's not garbage. I don't want to get carried away, but it's not the root foundation. And that's what I want to teach you guys, right? It's about rewiring our nervous system and healing burnout, stepping into the life you guys were made for. So inside of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, you're going to learn how to calm your nervous system in real time, you guys. I'm going to teach you body-based solutions in real time so you can expand your capacity to handle life, because ultimately that's what we all want to do, right? We want to be more resilient. We want to be able to respond to stress without spiraling, without overwhelm. And then I want to teach you daily habits and routines. Part of what you're going to learn today about sleep comes from Burnout Recovery Blueprint. I want you to nurture your mind and your body so you can understand what it takes to feel deeply refreshed, truly alive. And then we're going to protect all of that, right? I'm going to give you tools and practices to help you manage your stress and then handle whatever life throws at you. Because y'all, life going to keep on lifing, right? So we have to be able to handle it without crashing, without burning out again. So if this is something you're curious about, if this is something you've been interested in, the link is in the show notes. Go learn all about it. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, hello@michellegrosser.com. I'm there. I'm answering emails. We start on January 20th. The week of January 20th is our first week. So put that in your calendar. Check it out. The cart is going to be open. Registration will be open until early next week. I believe it closes on Tuesday. So get in there, save your spot before we fill up, because I know we're going to fill up. There's been so much interest in this. You guys are sending me emails asking me when registration opens, and it opens on Thursday. So if you've been thinking about it, I want to see you there. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Let's get into this. Let's first talk about the connection between sleep and the nervous system. And then let's jump into these 3 tools that I want to give you guys to optimize your sleep. Okay. So how is sleep connected to our nervous system? Well, sleep is essential for every function in our body, right? And because of that, it's also essential for our nervous system health. It helps to restore balance in our nervous system. It helps to regulate our stress responses. So the quality of our sleep expands our window of tolerance. What does that mean? This is like 101, you guys, and we've all experienced this. When we don't sleep well, our capacity to handle whatever happens in our day shrinks, right? Tiny little things seem like big things, right? One tiny little thing and we're snapping. One comment and we're, so frustrated. One thing goes wrong and we're crying, right? The kids are slow getting out of the door and we're running late, and, traffic is bad that day and we just can't handle it because our window of tolerance is so narrow. We're living on that edge, right? Any little thing sets us off when we don't sleep well. Our body's ability to just handle stress without becoming dysregulated is really challenged when we don't fall asleep at a consistent time or stay asleep. Part of the reason why is because when our nervous system is dysregulated, when we're stuck in fight or flight, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Being dysregulated and burned out, it makes it hard for us to fall asleep and stay asleep. And if we're not sleeping well, that causes our nervous system to be more prone to dysregulation. So when we're stuck in fight or flight, it's like this awful cycle. Our stress hormones are high, i.e. our cortisol levels are not balanced. They're not peaking when they should be peaking, right? They're out of whack, and it makes it really hard for our body to have a healthy circadian rhythm. It makes it really hard for our body to enter that deep restorative sleep and those sleep cycles that are needed for us to wake up feeling rested. Now, for most of you listening, women, we experience, hormonal fluctuations that are normal, right? Those hormonal fluctuations also affect our sleep. So our monthly cycle impacts our cortisol level. It impacts progesterone. All of those things impact how we rest. So quality sleep, you guys, especially for us that are experiencing hormonal fluctuations, raising my hand here, I notice a difference in my sleep right before I get my period. That hormonal balance is impacted by the quality of sleep. It also impacts our cognitive function, right? How well are we processing information, able to make decisions, that feeling of brain fog or that feeling where you're like super clear, getting stuff done, our resilience, right? All of these things that are essential for us as high achievers, as women that are balancing career, family life, community, leadership, all of the things. So high quality sleep. And hear me when I say this too. I'm not talking about hours in bed. I'm talking about high quality sleep. Restorative sleep is not a luxury, you guys. It's so important. It's a necessity for a balanced, resilient nervous system. It will regulate your mood, improve your brain function, boost your energy. I don't think I need to talk you guys into it. You know how important sleep is. You know how good you feel when you've been sleeping well. So let's talk about it today, because I'm assuming if you're listening to this, your sleep could be optimized, right? Maybe you're having a hard time falling asleep. Maybe you're waking up in the night and having a hard time falling back asleep. That was me for so long. Or maybe you're sleeping through the night, but you have really irregular sleep schedules. Or maybe you're sleeping, but you're waking up feeling exhausted and you're like, something's happening. My sleep is not a restful sleep. All of these 3 tools I want to give you guys today are going to help optimize your sleep. And then, as I always do, I also want to give you guys the science behind these 3 tools, okay? I'm not just like spoon feeding you stuff that you can Google. I want you to understand the why behind why you're doing this stuff, because I know for me, just the way that my brain works, like that helps to motivate me. I'm like, okay, I know I shouldn't do whatever, like blue light before I go to bed. But when I finally understood why, like what's that actually doing in my body, I was like, oh, I'm actually not going to do that anymore, right? That's what it took for me. So maybe some of you are wired like I am, and understanding the why will help you to put this stuff into practice. All right, so let's go through these 3 tools that will help optimize your sleep, and then we'll touch on the science behind each one of them. So the first one is, I would encourage you, this is a game changer. You guys don't underestimate this. Give it a shot. No meals, no alcohol, 3 hours before you're going to sleep. So obviously you can have dinner. You can even have a drink with dinner or while you're making dinner. But try to limit the time between when you eat or drink alcohol and the time you actually go to bed. So for me, and what the science supports, is you want to try not to eat a big meal or drink alcohol within 3 hours of going to bed. So I go to bed relatively early. I wake up early and I like to go to bed early. That's my chronotype. That's how I function best. So for me, that means by 6:30 p.m., I'm done eating and I'm done drinking alcohol for the day if I've had a drink. So that means we eat dinner fairly early. Our schedule allows that right now. If we get to a point where my kids are in nighttime sports or whatever, I'll probably have to adjust. And if you guys are in that space too, adjust, right? Eat a smaller meal. Try to eat earlier when you can. If you're going to eat at 7, see if you can stay up till 10 before you go to bed, right? No huge meals for dinner at 9 p.m. and then going to bed at 10, right? And I'm talking about trends here, right? Like on the regular, what is your schedule? Are there outliers? Are you going to go out to eat sometimes at 9 p.m. and it's going to be different? Yes. And then you'll notice that your sleep is probably different too once you start paying attention to it. Same thing with alcohol. If I'm going to have a drink, if I'm going to have a glass of wine or whatever, a drink, I actually like to do it while I'm making dinner so that it's like, it's at 5, it's at 5:30, it's at 6, so that by the time I go to bed at 9:30 p.m., that alcohol has metabolized, it's out of my system, it's not having an impact on my sleep, it's not having an impact on my nervous system, which thus has an impact on my sleep, okay? So there's so many reasons why. Let me give it to you. Eating and drinking alcohol close to bedtime, it impacts our body's blood sugar stability, right? That impacts so many different things that are related to sleep. So if you're someone who's probably waking up at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and having a hard time going back to sleep, there's a high probability that that's a blood sugar imbalance, right? Your body something's going on at 3 in the morning where with your glucose levels, where your body's waking you up because there's an imbalance there. So a lot of times if we eat or drink alcohol close to bedtime, there's an impact on our blood sugar that impacts our sleep quality. There's also an impact, obviously, on our digestion, right? Our body is using resources and energy to digest that meal, to metabolize that alcohol. And that has an impact on our sleep quality too, right? We don't want our body digesting a huge meal when it actually should be resting. And then alcohol in particular, you guys, it disrupts our REM stage sleep. So that means that we don't get that deep quality sleep that we need. That means that we're having more frequent wake ups. That means that we're sleeping lighter. So if those are things that you guys are experiencing, frequent wake ups, lighter sleep, you're not getting good quality sleep, you're waking up not feeling rested, give this a shot, right? Now, when it comes to those blood sugar issues, late night meals, alcohol spiking your blood sugar, it causes a crash that often results in that waking up around 3 a.m. And that means that our liver's working harder to metabolize the food and the alcohol, and that disrupts our natural sleep patterns. Guys, I have this to me is like clockwork. The more I start to notice it, if you guys wear a wearable or track your sleep in any way, this is going to be really easy for you to track. I've actually just really reduced my alcohol intake. I'm actually not drinking. I haven't drank any alcohol in the last few weeks. I'm going to see how long I go with that. But man, I'm sleeping so much better. And when when Jeff and I go out to dinner and I'll have a drink or two, I notice that my sleep is so much worse. I notice how much it keeps me up. I notice that I don't wake up feeling as rested. So if this is something that you're wanting to remedy in your own life, you're wanting to sleep better, play around with it. Get curious with it. Give it a shot. Try not eating as close to bedtime. If you can make it 3 hours before bed, by the time you're done eating, awesome. That's the ideal. If you can start doing that even a few days a week, I think that would be helpful. And then the same thing with alcohol, you guys. A huge impact. We tend to think that alcohol helps us fall asleep, right? I'm just going to have a glass of wine. It helps me relax. It's going to help me fall asleep. Yes, that is true. It will make you drowsy and it will help you fall asleep. However, the quality of sleep that you get through the rest of the night is compromised, right? So it's a short-term Band-Aid solution to help you fall asleep, but it's really stealing quality sleep from you through the night. So what can you do? Here's what I've done. I've swapped that glass of wine or that late night snack with a calming herbal tea. So I've gone online, I ordered sleepy time tea, non-toxic herbal, caffeine-free sleepy tea, right? And I mix that with a little bit of honey. That helps to support my blood sugar stability. I notice a huge difference when I do this. I don't have that 3 a.m. wake up and I sleep through the night. And it helps me just to wake up feeling so much better, like ready to go, ready to start the day. And I sleep through the night, which, praise and hallelujah, because it's a big deal. Okay, so that's the first one. No meals, no alcohol 3 hours before bed. Number 2, the second tool I want to give you guys to help optimize your sleep is early morning sun exposure. What does this mean? This means that you try to get early morning sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up, right? Sunlight exposure in the morning is so awesome, you guys. And there's so many different ways in which it helps regulate our body's natural circadian rhythm. So a lot of times when we're having a hard time falling asleep, when we are waking up at 3 a.m. And our body's like ready to go and we can't fall back asleep, it's because there's been some sort of shift in our body's natural circadian rhythm, right? Our body is confused about when it's time to fall asleep and when it's time to wake up because we're not feeding it the cues that nature has created to signal to our body, hey, it's time to shut down and go to bed. Or, hey, it's time to wake up and get going. How does nature do that? Well, a big way that nature does that is through sunlight, right? Our body perceives sunlight through so many different sensors, right? Through our eyes. We even have light receptors on our skin, you guys. So there's so many parts of our body that are created to be able to sense, okay, there's sunlight and it's daytime. We're supposed to be releasing hormones and chemicals that help us feel energized and awake and ready to go. And then the opposite, right? When it's dusk and the sun is setting and it starts to get dark outside, when our brain and when our skin and when our eyes realize that, right, through the wavelengths and we get the signal that the day is shifting, same thing, right? Our body triggers the release of certain hormones that help us feel calm and relaxed and eventually fall asleep. Here's the thing though, when we wake up in the dark and then stay in the dark and then work in an office with fluorescent lighting and then jump in our car and wear sunglasses anytime that we're outside and then come home and have artificial light and then look at a blue light screen, right? Which is obviously we're getting blue light, which is suppressing melatonin production and telling our body that it's daytime and telling us to stay awake before we're actually wanting to go to sleep because we're scrolling on our phones. Our natural rhythm gets all jacked up. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So when we can expose our skin and our eyes to early morning sunlight, that exposure triggers the release of serotonin. And serotonin later on converts to melatonin, which is our sleep hormone at night, right? So that natural cycle supports a healthier, more consistent sleep routine. Now, I understand that it's wintertime if you're listening to this in the winter when it's releasing. I understand that a lot of us don't get bright sunlight anymore in the mornings, right? Guys, even just sitting by a window, even being outside on a cloudy day is so much better for you than being inside. And if it's really dark in the mornings or where you live, like I grew up in northern Maine on the border of Canada, it was dark until like 10 a.m. and then it got dark again at like 2 p.m. Get a light, get one of those lights for seasonal affective disorder. You can get them on Amazon. And when you wake up, within 30 minutes of waking up, spend some time by that light, right? Do your morning journaling or Bible study or meditation or whatever you do in your morning routine with that light on. And that will help to reset your body's natural circadian rhythm, right? So sit by the window, invest in a light therapy box to help simulate that morning sunlight. And you're going to notice a difference in resetting your natural circadian rhythm so that your body understands, hey, it's time to wake up at the right time and it's time to go to sleep at the right time, right? And I guess this doesn't really have to do with early morning sun exposure, but I want to mention it also. Our nervous system, our body, our circadian rhythm loves consistency. It loves predictability. So if you're really wanting to work on cleaning up your sleep hygiene and improving your sleep quality, having a consistent time you go to bed and having a consistent time you get out of bed can be so helpful. So if you're someone who goes to bed, some nights at 9 because you're beat, but then other nights you get caught up with work or you're cleaning the house or you're getting caught up on some stuff and it's 1 a.m. and then you're going to sleep. And then the next night, like your sleep's all over the place, you're not doing yourself any favors. So if you can try to be more intentional about getting into bed at the same time every night, like make that a hard boundary, you guys. Like I'm in bed by 9 o'clock every single night, lights out by 9:30 every single night, probably 360 days out of the year, right? I don't care if there's still laundry to do. I don't care if my work's not done yet. I would rather wake up earlier, feeling rested and get that stuff done the next day than try to stay up, catching up at night. And then it just kind of rolls over. My next day doesn't start well. I don't feel well the next day. It's just like a hard boundary that I have. Whatever's not done by 9 o'clock, whatever, that's on me. It'll get done tomorrow. I got to go get my rest because of that is so foundational to how I operate, show up, feel, lead, all of the different things. So if that feels aligned for you and you want to give it a shot, I would encourage you to increase the consistency in your nighttime, like routine, what time you actually go to bed. And then the same thing in the morning, what time you actually wake up. And it can make a big difference. Now I understand you have small kids, you have like real life. I'm not talking about every single day, you guys. I'm talking about when you're able, like control the things you can control, right? On the nights when you're able to, go to bed at the same time. On the mornings when you have control, like get out of bed at the same time. Set yourself up for success. Control the things you can control. Okay. Let's jump into number 3. This is the last one for today. All right. The third tool to optimize your sleep. This is something I've probably been doing for the last year. And it's really made a difference for me. And it's really made a difference for the clients that I've recommended this to also that I've been working with. So I'm giving it here for you guys. Give it a shot. Magnesium supplement or a magnesium foot spray. I do both. I have a magnesium foot spray that I bought on Amazon. Just make sure that the only thing in it is magnesium. You don't need any other chemicals or fillers or anything like that. Just a magnesium foot spray. They're super easy to find on Amazon. You can probably find them other places too. I keep it on my nightstand. And when I get into bed at night, I just spray my feet. Now, the first couple nights that you use it, if you are magnesium deficient, it will itch for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Mine definitely did. Like the first 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, oh my gosh, my feet itch so bad. I want to rip them off my body. It was so itchy. But after 5 to 10 minutes, it kind of went away. And then I was able to sleep fine. And after 2 or 3 days, when my body wasn't so deficient in magnesium, it didn't itch anymore. And now I spray it on and it could be water for all I know. I don't feel anything. There's no itch or anything. So if you try it in the first few days, you're like, oh my gosh, this is making my feet so itchy. It's just because you've been magnesium deficient. Your body is absorbing this magnesium. It's causing this itching sensation. And it's totally normal. Okay. So magnesium foot spray. And then also I take a magnesium supplement before I go to bed. So same thing. I also keep that in my nightstand. And I just bring up my water bottle when I go to bed, and then I take it as I'm putting the kids to bed. So by the time, half hour later when I am going to bed, it's kind of working. So magnesium is our quote unquote relaxation mineral, you guys. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation. Magnesium supports nerve function. Magnesium supports just feeling calm. All of these things help transition our body into sleep. And that's because magnesium influences our parasympathetic nervous system, right? And that's the circuit of our nervous system that's responsible for being able to relax. It's our brake. It's our nervous system's brake. If you imagine the brake and the gas pedal in a car, our parasympathetic nervous system is our nervous system's brake. So it's responsible for slowing us down, for relaxation, for rest. When we are deficient in magnesium, that's been linked to insomnia, and it can be supplemented. And when we supplement magnesium, it can improve sleep onset. So we fall asleep easier, and it also improves our sleep quality. So if you're going to do a foot spray, 30 to 60 minutes maybe before you go to sleep, I just spray mine on and I read before I go to bed. So I get into bed. It's kind of like oily. So maybe you want to spray and then put socks on, but I spray it when I'm in bed. And then I read for like half an hour from like 9 to 9:30. And then I usually start feeling drowsy and I put my book away, and I go to sleep, right? For an added boost, you can also, like some people add a 5-HTP supplement. I've been taking that too along with the melatonin. It's called like 5-HTP. That is a precursor to melatonin. And that can help support a natural sleep cycle too. So 5-HTP is a naturally occurring compound that our body produces as it converts tryptophan, which you guys are probably familiar with when we have turkey for Thanksgiving, right? It kind of makes us sleepy. That's an amino acid. And it converts that tryptophan into serotonin, which is our feel-good neurotransmitter, right? It's associated with our mood, our relaxation, and our sleep, you guys. So 5-HTP is a precursor to melatonin, which is the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycles. If a lot of you take melatonin, you've experienced the benefits, right? So when we actually support our serotonin levels, which is what 5-HTP does, that indirectly promotes our own natural melatonin production, which is our body's natural ability, which helps our body's natural ability, right, to fall asleep and stay asleep. So I have been taking it. I feel like it really has made a difference for me. I've experienced like less restlessness, less disrupted sleep. And then I also benefit from the serotonin boost, right? Because it can create a more relaxed state and it helps my body prepare for rest. So, give that a shot if that's something that you're interested in also. And it's really great to combine, I think, a good nighttime routine, calming activities, right? Supplements, if we're talking about magnesium, either in supplement form or the foot spray. If you want to add in a 5-HTP, I think that's cool. If you take other prescriptions or antidepressants or anything that impacts your serotonin levels, obviously talk to your doctor before you start taking anything. I wouldn't just start taking anything. Talk to your doctor if you're taking any other medications. Make sure that this is okay and you have the green light. But for the foot spray, the magnesium supplement, and the 5-HTP, that's been my like chef's kiss, really making a difference in the state of my nervous system and helping to support quality sleep. Okay, so those are your three. Before we wind it down today, let's just like briefly talk about a pre-bedtime ritual because I just kind of mentioned it and I want to talk about it a little bit more before we stop today. I love each of these things, right? And I think each of them is important. Don't eat a huge meal and drink a bunch before you go to bed. It's gonna wreck your sleep. Don't sit in a dark room all day and expect to have good circadian rhythm, right? That's gonna throw off your sleep. If you want to supplement with magnesium, I think it would make a big difference. That will help your sleep. However, if your pre-bedtime ritual is not supportive of sleep, it's going to be hard for any of these to have that big of an impact, right? So if you know that you need to, set some good boundaries around screen time, if you know that you can't just go from watching like true crime to sleeping well, then put some boundaries around that, right? If you want to like start reading or stretching or meditating or breathing before bed, then I think those are great tools. If putting your kids to bed is super stressful and you're super triggered and it takes forever and you're like get so frustrated and then you're trying to go to sleep right after and you're just laying there all heated, and I raise my hand because I know that was me for years, it's time for another approach. Okay. So take a look at your pre-bedtime ritual. What does that look like? Because that's also a big part of it, you guys. Okay. Now, you're not going to like turn this around overnight. So start with maybe one of these habits first. And then when you feel like you've got in a good rhythm with it, right? Okay, I'm starting to eat earlier, and I'm noticing that when I don't go to bed with a belly full of food, man, I'm sleeping so much better, right? Man, I'm noticing that when I, cut off my alcohol at 6 p.m., by the time I go to bed, man, I sleep through the night so much better, right? Man, I started a magnesium foot spray and I noticed that it's actually helping me sleep through the night. Or I started getting that early morning sunlight and my circadian rhythm is starting to kind of really like come back into balance, and I'm not waking up at 3 a.m. anymore like I've been waking up. Once one thing is starting to work and you feel like you've got a good handle on it, then you can add in something else, okay? But you don't have to like redo all of this all at once. Small, consistent steps, you guys. Don't let this overwhelm you. Start small and it'll make a big difference. I promise you. And then just experiment, right? Sleep needs vary. What works for different bodies, different nervous system varies. So just get curious with this stuff. If you try something and you're like, man, I've tried this for a month and it's making a huge difference, I'm going to keep doing this. Or, man, I've tried this for a month and I'm noticing I still really struggle falling asleep. Okay, well, let's evaluate what that looks like. What else could we do to support helping you fall asleep better, right? And just start noticing what's making an impact. If it's a positive impact, do more of that. If it's not making much of a difference, continue to get curious, evaluate, try new tools, try new approaches, because I promise you, your body is designed to sleep well. And there are natural ways that we can support you having a good sleep experience that feels really restful and you wake up feeling refreshed. So if that's something you want to work on further also, again, just as a reminder, inside the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, we have a whole module around optimizing our habits and routines. A huge part of that is sleep. So if that's something that you want further support around and you've been wanting to jump in on the Burnout Recovery Blueprint, I think this would be a great time of year to do it. Like, learn this stuff, start to put it into practice with support, with community, in a space where you can ask me questions, we can modify, we can work on it specifically for what you're noticing and make adjustments. And this can be, 2025 can be the year that you guys finally get your sleep on track. And there's such a beautiful trickle down from that, right? There's such a powerful trickle down where everything else in your life is impacted and you feel so much better. Okay, so the link to the Burnout Recovery Blueprint is going to be in the show notes on the next episode later this week, because registration will open on Thursday. I'm also going to send out emails, so if you're on the email list, you'll get all the information there. You'll get the link to register, all the information about all the modules that are included inside, all the support that's inside. That's what I'm really excited about. There's so much support in this program. I'm with you every step of the way. And then, everything else that's in there, all the information on the investment will be there. So I'll send you guys an email about that. It'll be in the next episode that's coming out. So make sure to check in. And if you're not on my email list and you want to get information about this, just shoot me an email, hello@michellegrosser.com, and we'll make sure that you get everything that you need if you want to be a part of the January cohort of the Burnout Recovery Blueprint. All right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being with me today. I will talk to you soon.
If you love Mommy's Polygraphs, leave a review.
If you enjoyed this episode, it would be so awesome if you could take a moment to subscribe and rate the podcast. And if you have just a few more seconds to leave a quick review, they really help to get this podcast out to other moms like you. I read every last review, and trust me, when it's late at night or early in the morning before my kids get up and I'm working on bringing you all of this content, your reviews are what keep me going. Leaving a review is truly the best way you can thank me. And of course, DM me on Instagram. I love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to another episode. Head over to the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at michellegrosser.com, where you'll find free resources and more ways to connect with me. If you love the show, share it with a friend. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.